Namely, all the cars, well, most of the Aston Martins registered in Sweden are DB9s or V8 Vantage. And it is, as we look, the most, did this work? Or?
No, it's me.
Ah, okay.
You just have to wait
Okay.
and I will...
Yep, next slide.
Oops. Is it this one?
Yep, exactly. So that's here. The not so technical buyer's guide. The not so technical part was Sven asking me because of the variety of guests tonight. So we're going to look at the buyer's guide to Aston Martin DB9 Vantage. A little bit about predecessors, successors, and alternatives. And it's all going to be Aston Martin. So next one.
Which one is that?
That one, yeah.
Okay.
We see here the production numbers of the DB9s. This is the total production numbers of the DB9s and the total production numbers of the V8 Vantage. You can see it is the most built Aston Martin ever. We'll come later to some other boring figures, but there's not so many Aston Martins that are built in a quantity of 21,000, or as a DB9 16,000. Compared to Porsche made in 2018 22,500 cars per month. So exactly. So it gives a little bit about the exclusivity of a car.
It's a big difference.
Yeah. Next slide, please.
This one?
Yeah. For all the technical people tonight, this is as hot as it will get. It will not go more than technically than this. The only thing is I want to say is the V8s and the DB9s and all the cars after that, except for the Signet and the 177, have started with the VH concept. It stands for, well, vertical horizontal platform concept. It's really easy. It's just some horizontal aluminium beams, vertical aluminium beams, and you can build a body on that. If you want a Rapide, you make it 20 centimeters longer. If you want a Honda Tarif, you make it 40 centimeters longer. And if you want to have a V8 Vantage, you shorten it. It's really that easy. And you made the body on it, and it's strong, it's reliable, it's almost rust-proof since it's aluminium. So it's really a simple way to build in a reasonably cheap, fast way.
Olaf,
A car. Yes.
and everything is glued together, or
Exactly. Yeah. It is not. This concept started with Aston Martin in 2000. As I understand, is Lotus had the patents on it for the Elise. The Elise was the very first car that had this vertical horizontal platform, and it is glued, just like it's actually a sort of process that comes from aviation. You can see sometimes there's rivets. The rivets are there just to keep the stuff in place, and the glue will take it from there. So it's a real cheap variation to make a car, and there's well lots and lots of variations possible, which makes it easier for Aston Martin to come out with newer models so quick. So what we look for in an Aston Martin, if you buy an Aston Martin, they're always pricey. There's no way to go out, you know, there's no cheap Aston Martin. They're always pricey. The thing is, what you want to look for in Aston Martin is history. If you can buy a DB9 or a V8 or whatever with history, it's nice. I will come a bit further with that later. You always have to be aware, next slide, yeah? Exactly. Aston Martin is one of the few cars that even when they're being crashed, they can still be more valuable than other cars. Wow. Next slide. This is a good, no? One further, one back. I'm missing one. Okay.
one?
No, no,
This
no, 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 no. This one, that one, yeah.
Oof.
That one, I bet it will be worse than most of other DBSs. As long as James Bond crashes it, it's gonna be worth more. So, a car that's been crashed, I mean, most of you guys know Thomas Hedberg's DB4. That's a car that's been heavily crashed, and it's got such a history, it's only gone up in value, even as it's been crashed. But still, for DB9s and V8 Vantage, try to stay clear from badly crashed cars. Can we go back? Let me see where we were.
You want to do it yourself?
No, it's
And I can sit down? Just lean back.
Yeah. So yeah, the most important thing to look at, well, we see this gorgeous interior of Daniel Craig's DBS. Service history. If you want to buy a DB9 or a V8 or any other Aston Martin, service history is the most important. Even there's a lot of cars out there with low mileage, and even cars with lower mileage still need regular service. And on the DB9s and the V8s, the only way you can see the service is in the owner's manual. There's no electronic records by Aston Martin holding it or whatever. It's only in the service book stamps. US cars, they use Carfax, yeah. So they not even bother to fill in service books, unfortunate. But there is a way that you can get the service history by Carfax. So, as my mentor always told me, there's no such piece of machinery as good as it is maintained. And that sort of counts with Aston Martins as well, or with any other cars, really. So, always ask, always see if there's a service history if you buy one via the service book. Check the VIN number, the vehicle identification number, with an Aston Martin dealer or with a specialist, say
Aston Hill,
Aston Hill, for instance. Yeah.
for example.
Exactly, yeah. So check the vehicle, and we can check if the car has been in a badly accident, is been stolen, been fire, natural disaster. Believe me, after Katrina and Sandy in America, there were a lot of Aston Martins on the market that looked really nice on the outside, but actually has been standing on the water up till the wheels sort of for like a month. So it's really good to check that out. It doesn't cost any money. It just costs maybe a little bit of patience and just time and an email or a telephone call. But you'll be probably happy for the rest of your life if you find out the car has been crashed or it's been written off in the Aston Martin system. So, yeah. So what to go for with the DB9? Let me see. Yeah, what to go for with the DB9 or a V8 Vantage. There are also some special or limited editions. They are always nice. I mean, they are always go up in value. They are more lovable by people than other ones. You see here some examples: Carbon Black Edition, the 007 edition, the DBS 007 edition, or N420, which you also had like N400 and N430. Those are mostly built in limited editions, as in most never more than 250 cars. Some 99, some 100 cars. So it's definitely worth, if you want to buy one, and if you have to choose between two of them, and one of them is a limited edition, it's worth, if you want to go for future investments, go for a limited edition. They're nicer and easier to sell if you want to buy a newer limited edition. So the other thing is there are always cars around, since it's such a low volume number, there are always cars around. There are cars that are made for the Geneva motor shows. They are around in Sweden. I know like half a dozen of them. They are in Sweden. They were made specially for the Geneva motor shows, or the Paris motor show. We have one V8 Vantage in Sweden that was from a famous football player in Italy. Exactly, yeah. What was his name again?
Andreas Costa.
Andreas Costa, exactly. So that things like that. So those cars, they are already having a little. They will, wouldn't say they keep the value more than other V8s, but they easier. How do you say? They're easier to keep the value. So that was the goal. For the next thing is if we want to go for a DB9 or a Vantage. So we go for a manual or automatic or sport shift. So to start with the V8 Vantages, they came out in manual 6-speed gearboxes or sport shift gearboxes. Anybody questions regarding sport shift gearboxes? Good. Yeah. People with sport shift gearboxes, when they want to buy a car and they want to purchase one with sport shift, they're a little bit scared about all the scary stories on internet. I have to defend myself more than once a day to Mr. Google about what people find on the internet. So it is scary if you don't know what it is. Once you know what it is, it's not so bad. You can go for a sport shift. It drives really nice if you know how to drive it. That's the whole thing.
So how should you drive it?
You should drive. I have
Fast.
No, fast. That's one of the reasons. It doesn't like traffic, or it doesn't like parking, or it doesn't like hills. But doesn't mean that you can't drive it. You can drive it. It's only up to the driver to depend on how long you want the clutch to last. So if you're thinking about buying a sport shift car, you can always bring it to Aston Martin dealer or especially to read out the clutch values. We can read out the clutch values so we can see in what kind of condition the clutch is. So that will make it easy that you can say, like, okay, we can drive it for 2 more summers, or we definitely have to change the clutch now. The lifespan of a clutch is about, as you say in Sweden, 6,000 mil. So, but it all depends on who's driving it. Because after the Vantage, V8 Vantage with the sport shift, you got the V8 Vantage S, also with the sport shift, 7-speed, and they sort of are much nicer to drive because that's the 3rd generation sport shift. The Vanquish was the first, the AM V8 was the second, so the Vantage S is the 3rd generation. And what they did is, it's very much improved it's really much improved the reduced wear caused by human factor. So what they did was they put a sort of hill hold function on it, so you don't have to use the handbrake. Now people with sport shift say, do I have to use the handbrake? Yes, you have to use the handbrake. If you have a sport shift V8, you have on hills, you have to use the handbrake because it's a manual gearbox with a normal clutch. Like every other car, you have to use the handbrake. And that sort of expands the lifetime of the clutch significantly.
Olaf?
Yes?
The sport shift, is that some sort of an automatic clutch? Or?
Yes, it's a manual gearbox with an automatic clutch and hydraulic gear selection.
Yeah, okay.
So it works really good.
Yes.
As long as people know how to drive it. So, no, but that's it. The V8 Vantage has a very much improved clutch system, and I haven't heard any real big issues from people with that system. So, talking about manuals, the V8 Vantage has a 6-speed manual gearbox. Later Vantage S's are available with manuals, but then you're looking at like a limited edition as the SP10s, or the ones that are labeled not as Vantage S, but as later V8 Vantages. They're having the 6-speed manual gearbox. Regarding the DB9s, the DB9s is available in manual, was available in manual, but it's very rare. So they are really, I would say, very wanted now at the moment. If you want to have a DB9 manual, you really have to do your best to find one, because mostly, I don't know, I think it was like 80% or something was delivered with automatic gearboxes. It's the manual gearbox on the DB9, it's exactly the same as the V8. It's fun to drive, it's a proper GT car, especially with the DB9 with the V12 engine. It's very rare, will go up in value, I think, in the future. Solid clutch life, solid gearbox, solid clutch life. It also depends on the driver, of course, but that's with every wear and tear part of a car. Regarding the other 80% of the DB9s, the automatics. It's a real automatic gearbox from ZF, built by ZF in Switzerland.
It's not from Germany.
Germany. Sorry. They are built in Audis and BMWs, hence Friedrichshafen. And they are really solid, and I must admit, almost totally trouble-free. I think over my life I've become one or two cars with gearbox issues. So they're really, really reliable. They're 6-speed gearboxes. They don't come with the 8-speed DB9s that started off with the Vanquish. There are Vanquishes, model year 15 DB9s, but they still have the 6-speed gearbox. So that was about the transmission use. What to go for? Coupe or Volante. As you see, or a Roadster. The V8 comes as a Roadster because it's a 2-seat. The DB9 comes as a Volante because it's a 2+2, and the V8 is a Roadster. It's all up to you, of course, what you want. If you want to have a convertible or a coupe. What I can say about the roofs, there's almost none water ingress. They're really dry and reliable in that case. On the V8 roofs, there are some mechanical issues on older cars, and on the V8 and on the DB9s, there are some electronic issues on older cars. Nothing really that's unsolvable, but it is something that comes with the car. Overall, for a low production car, it is a reliable roof, I must admit. It works very proper, very good. So that was about the DB9 and the V8s. Any questions so far? Good. Then we go to the princesses. We're starting in 1990 with the Virage. Some people think it's the most ugliest car in the world. Some people like it really like nothing else.
They have never seen a Lagonda.
No.
I own one, so I can say it.
No, exactly. But the Virage, it's a car. It is really beautiful. The thing is, it's really rare. It's almost the car with the lowest. Let's see. Where was it? Yeah, it's the car with almost the lowest build volume. So whatever it looks like, it will go up in value. You can see the total virages is 813 cars. And
More than the Lagonda, right?
huh?
It's a bit more than the
It's a bit more than the Lagonda, yeah. And 234 of them are volantes. So, and that's over a period from 1990 till 2000, over a period of 10 years, 800 cars. So they stepped things up a little bit, which came to my next one, predecessor, a very underestimated car, a DB7.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think you people should applaud for people that have a DB7. 25 years ago it went into production. In 2003 it stopped. People say it's an expensive Jaguar. I'll say it's got a Jaguar platform, absolutely. It's got an Aston Martin built engine in all of them, in the 6 cylinders and in the 12 cylinders, the Vantage. 6 cylinder, it's the heart of it is a Jaguar engine, but they were all built by Aston Martin. The manual gearboxes, they are very rare. They are going up in value a lot, DB7s with manual gearboxes. You don't see those so much. Most of them are automatics. They are really, I think they are really underestimated, and they will go up in value. You have some cars, let me see, where are we? There are already some quite beautiful ones. Zagato, only 99 made, and the AR1, also only 99 made. That's the only car that you can buy without a roof. So it hasn't got a roof, and you can't put up a roof. That's why it was AR. It's for American road style. It was only sold in the US.
I saw one in Essen with a
Nice.
nope, ugly.
The reason why I think is the DB7 will go up in value is because of the building numbers. They haven't built so many DB7s. If you compare it with the DB4s, DB5 or DB6s, they made 1,328 DB6 saloons, and they made 1,567 DB7 6 cylinders. And even the people among us with a Volante 6 cylinder, 894 cars. The Vantage was much more popular, and they made 2,385. Still, over a period of how much years?
4 years.
9 years, 10 years, from 1994 till 2000, 2003. Well, that's 9 years. It's still a low volume, and people always say the DB7 was the first high volume produced Aston Martin. But if you compare it with the DB9 or the V8 Vantage, it's quite low actually. And if you compare it with the other Aston Martins, it also is very low. I mean, the DB7 Volante 6 cylinders like 894. If you look at Aston Martin V8 Volantes, 849. So it's not really a mass-produced car. I think it's underestimated. I think it will go up in value. The running costs of a DB7 are reasonably lower than on a DB9 or a V8. So mainly because of the Jaguar platform. So. And then we go to alternatives. We have some alternatives here. TVS's, Virages, V12 Vantage, Rapide, Vanquish, and Cygnus. Yeah. Let's see if it works for me. Yeah. DBS. It's a DB9 in one way. In another way, it is a DB9 with a much stronger engine, ceramic brakes, and some carbon body parts. It is much loved because James Bond drove it. Manuals are very rare, and there are about still 8 cars on the market, mostly in German, that were built for the Quantum of Solace movie. So, anybody want to know the VIN numbers? I got the VIN numbers for it. I think it's 00034 till 46. They're all built for James Bond movie Quantum of Solace. One of them you saw that was crashed. The other one was really badly crashed and I think ended up in the lake somewhere. Well, now it ended against the wall somewhere. So, so the DBSs, it's a quite alternative. The running costs are slightly higher than the DB9, mainly because of the carbon fiber parts and ceramic brakes. So it's a very good alternative. Another good alternative, the Virage. If you want to look at a classic Aston Martin or a future classic Aston Martin, I think the Virage is really what to go to. It's a sort of updated DB9 with a stronger engine. It's got a different engine setup as the DBS, but more power than the DB9, and it's softer to drive. That was sort of the problem with them when they made it. It was too soft. It was too much of a comfortable car. Which rapidly after the Virage came out the new DB9, and you should look really, really hard if you want to know differences between a DB9 from model year 14 onwards or a Virage. It's almost the same. The main thing is the Virage is built only 2 years, so there's a very low production number on those. Only automatics and very few Volantes, convertibles.
How many in Sweden? One?
No. We sold at least 4 at Charisma, and I think there are like 2 imported. So my wild guess would say about 6 and 1 convertible. I know there's 1 convertible in Sweden. So it's definitely a car to go for. It's a very nice, elegant car. It drives really good. So, and it's a very good alternative for a DB9. Next one, the V12 Vantage. In this case, the V12 Vantage S. The V12 Vantage came out in 2010. It's a real proper sports car. It's a V8 Vantage with a DBS engine in it. That's the initial. That was what initial came out with. It was always manual up till 2013. It has ceramic brakes. Running costs are almost the same as a DBS. It's a real nice sports car, but it is a sports car. It is really, it's not a comfortable car maybe to drive to the south of France compared to the DB9. After 2013, they came out with the Vantage S, V12 Vantage S, that's the update, which has the Sport Shift gearbox again. The Sport Shift gearbox version 3, or generation number 3, hooked up on a 7-speed gearbox. Very reliable. I must admit, all the engines, the gearboxes, they are proper made for a low production car. I must admit, there's no real big issues. It is with the V12 engines of Aston Martin. People say it's well, I mostly say it's 2 V6 Mondeo engines pulled together. And it is true in a way, but it makes it really reliable, and in the worst case scenario, cheap to rebuild compared to Maserati or Ferrari. And with the V8 Vantages, it is an engine that's sort of used from Jaguar, only they converted it with a dry sump fuel with an oil system. I won't get too technical on that. The next version that's really underestimated, the Rapide. I think it's the most beautiful four-door car. I think we can say that. People who disagree, please raise their hand. I think Sven will escort them out. No, built in Austria up till 2013. Is that a bad thing? No, not really. And at least it was in a factory where they used to build cars, so they knew what they were doing. That's a good thing. So up till 2013, it was built in Austria. There are some Rapides built in the UK, and the Rapide S production was totally in the UK. I don't understand why, but for some reason it is the lowest priced Aston Martin from 2010 onwards on blockers. I don't have an idea why. It is such a lovely car to drive. It's apparently, well, the reason why it's so nice to drive is because of this long wheelbase. It's much smoother, and the software in the engine is really smooth. So you can really cruise it in the city. It's a nice car for the city, nice car for the highway. And the running costs, they are similar as a DB9 or a V8, or a DB9 or a Mirage. It is, I can say it 1,000 times, but there's nothing wrong with a car like this. I don't understand why they are so cheap these days. I mean, I know you can get a real good one for like 650,000 kroner. And you have 2011 Rapide. Later, the Rapide S came out. This is a Rapide S with a big grille in the front. In 2014, they went up to 550 horsepower. And also in 2015 onwards, they came out with the 8-speed gearboxes. So a real nice car to have, I must admit. Yep, yeah, I'm almost there. Old Vanquish. It's already becoming a little bit of a collection item, so I don't have to say, how do you say, so much about this. Last proper hand-built car in the UK, last proper built hand-built car in America, in England. Very nice in morning frost white as an ultimate edition. The new Vanquish. Again, sports stunning loose carbon fiber body. Ceramic brakes, has the same engine as the V12 Vantage S. From model year 15 onwards, it's got 8-speed gearbox. Again, all made on the aluminium platform, horizontal vertical platform. So it is all the same idea. It is made, only the exterior is sort of different underneath the platform. It's really the same. And last but not least, yeah, we laugh.
And that's it.
Now, it will be a collector's item.
Oh my goodness.
It will definitely be a collector's item. Aston Martin was intending to build 3,500 a year, and it's quietly stopped after less than 900 cars. So technically it's a Toyota IQ, absolutely 100%. It is hand-built, and the exterior, people say it's a Toyota IQ in the exterior. On the exterior, the only thing, the rear wing, that's the only thing that's from Toyota. Everything else is from Aston Martin body part. So they're already gone up in price for the various reasons. Especially ones are the Q versions. So it will be desirable in the future, I think. As much as we can laugh about it now, it's very cheap to run, of course, very economical, very practical. But it will be a future Aston Martin. I'm absolutely sure about that.
Olaf,
Yes.
there is even one with a V8 in it.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to say they ruined already one to put a V8 in it. Yeah. They put the 4.7 V8 engine in it. So, but no, definitely. I mean, we can all laugh about it later, but for now, it is going to be a future classic. Yeah.
does anyone knows what the signet means?
Yes, of course. I tried
Yeah.
to Google a picture
Yeah,
of the signet,
yeah.
and I came with like young
But
storks.
please explain that.
Yeah, a signet is, I don't know if there was a fairy tale like that in Sweden as well, about a young signet that was born as an ugly duckling, and it sort of turned out into a swan. And that's sort of the swans, ugly ducklies, well the swans,
Den fula ankungen.
they
Just
are
det.
like very ugly to look at. So that was it really actually.
With that, I think we are.